Welcome to the 2019 to 2021 ODOT Grant Solicitation Training webinar. Today in the webinar, we will cover the Special Transportation Fund, the FTA Section 5310 Fund, and the Section 5311 Fund. I'm Christine West. In the room with me, I have Sharon Perrenboom. We will be covering the three funding topics, and the questions and answers will be posted on the RPTD website. Our objectives are to enable you to understand the program goals and eligibility, to understand your agency responsibilities and the application process, and to understand the due dates and the expectations for accuracy. The advance notice and applications are posted on the website. The advance notice has the funding schedules in the last 3 pages. It also has the solicitation schedule on the very last page. GovDelivery we are using to send out all information to you, and we will go over how to register for GovDelivery. We will also discuss the Oregon Public Transportation Organizing Principles so you can tie your application to those principles. Solicitation schedule. The in-person grant solicitation trainings have occurred. The applications are due February 8th for 5311 funding. They are due March 15th for 5310 and STF applications. Remember to have all of the applications and agreements executed by July 1st. We need them submitted by their due date. ODOT's organizing principles. Access. Is there access to all those that want it? Is there access to older relative residents, people with disabilities, commuters, students? Is there availability? Are the services available in places where people live and where they want to go? Are they available at times that people need to go? Connected. Is your system connected? Can anyone get from your town to the next town? Economic development. Does your transit provide access to job, tourism for travel, access to retail? Does it help address congestion? All of that is economic development. GovDelivery, new great resource. We are using this. Everyone will sign up for GovDelivery, and this is how all information will be emailed out. It does look like this document. It kind of looks like spam in your email. So remember, when you receive it, it is actually important information. We will push out all training information, grant information, statewide updates, transit asset management updates, FTA funding updates, government shutdown updates. To sign up for GovDelivery, you go to www.oregon.gov/ODOT. At the top of the page, there is a Get Involved drop-down box. Select that. After you select that, it will take you to this wonderful page of how to sign up for alerts. You select Sign Up for Alerts. Then it will take you to an email address page. When you enter your email address, this is where all of your GovDelivery will be sent. Then you will get to choose your topics. You can choose bike and ped programs, you can choose funding opportunities, federal affairs, historic Columbia Highway, the interstate by your public transit, alerts from ODOT on construction. There is so many different things you can get alerts on. But remember, if you sign up for them and do not wish to get them anymore, you need to go back into GovDelivery and delete them. When you receive a GovDelivery email, it will look like this. You will want to go to your Outlook up in the left-hand corner and add GovDelivery to Never Block Group or email list. That way you'll always receive it and it won't go in your junk mail. Now on to the Oregon Special Transportation Fund. This is the most flexible funding. It's state funding and does not come with federal requirements. The funds are allocated by a population-based formula. There are 42 designated entities, including tribes. STF agencies develop program policies and procedures. Us at RPTD ensures conformance with state laws. Remember, these state revenues come from cigarette tax, sales of ID cards, non-auto gas taxes, and the state general fund. We have a current estimate of $21.9 billion, sorry, not billion, million. But ODOT's budget will not be finalized until June 30th, and at that time, we will know the actual amount of STF funding and will notify all agencies. STF funds can be used to maintain service and expand programs, create new services for seniors and individuals with disabilities, plan and develop transportation. The STF funds, the allocation is annual, but your agreement is biannual. Plan and apply for the 2 years of funding. If the revenues increase or decrease, we will notify you, and supplemental allocations may occur. These funds can be used for capital, operating, admin. These funds are great to be used as local match for federal funds. You can do this, use it for dispatch and asset management software, maintenance and repairs, fuel mileage reimbursement for volunteer drivers, mobility management. You are required to develop an STF local program. You are required to have an advisory committee that meets at least twice a year and has at least 5 members. Unless you're a tribe, you must have 3 members. You must have a coordinated plan that is adopted and updated every 3 years. The STF agency must vote on the recommended projects and must list them in priority when submitting them to RPTD. The STF agency is also required to maintain a capital asset inventory list. STF agencies should identify local funding priorities. They should have an advisory committee while making funding decisions. They should notice all their meetings publicly. Please advertise these meetings on your bus so the riders can attend your meetings. And now on to 5310 funding. 5310 funding is federal funding, so it does come with all of the federal requirements. It is a formula allocation with a capital focus. Your projects must be listed and identified in your coordinated plan, and you will use an STF agency to solicit, prioritize, and submit your application to ODOT. STF fund 5310 funding can be used for small urban and rural. There are 2 separate applications for this. One is strictly for rural only. A small urban applicant who operates rural service must fill out 2 applications, one for small urban and one for rural service. We will do an additional approximately $2 million discretionary solicitation in the fall of 2019 with applications coming out around November and grant agreements executed July 1st, 2020 for the discretionary solicitation that will be for rural service only. Your match rates. What can you use for your matching funds? You can use program revenue, advertising, contracts, local contributions, taxes, STF, STIF, in-kind volunteer services. You cannot use any other federal funds, and you cannot use farebox revenue to match your 5310 funds. For advertising, there are some restrictions. Please talk to your RTC. 5310 funds can be used for vehicles, equipment and facilities, signs and shelters, mobility management, prevailing maintenance, dispatch and asset management software, purchase service. Please have all of these in your coordinated plan if you're going to do any of them with your 5310 funds. Remember, you must appoint an advisory committee. You must have an adopted coordinated plan that is updated every 5 years but the STF requires it every 3, so please update your coordinated plan every 3 years. Must be a public process. The 5310 STF Advisory Agency will develop and submit applications. Please remember, your advisory committee is public officials. They are public meetings. All meetings must be accessible. And they must have a public comment period and a protest period. With federal funds, federal requirements come. There's federal procurement requirements, useful life on assets, preventive maintenance, civil rights, drug and alcohol testing for CDL drivers. Drug and alcohol testing increased to 50% of your pool as of January 1st, 2019. You will be blessed with on-site compliance reviews, with quarterly reporting in Optus. You will be able to participate in transit asset management, and you will be allowed to do NTD reporting.
Now we're moving on to the 5311 program from the Federal Transit Administration. They are formula grants supporting public transportation services in rural areas with populations of fewer than $50,000, and they are used to support general public transportation services. Most of the funds are distributed through a formula. Currently, there are 35 eligible entities. The formula was updated this year through a PTAC, Public Transportation Advisory Committee work group process, and approved by the Oregon Transportation Committee. There also is a startup program if you are not currently a 5311 recipient but want to provide general public transportations. And there are procedures and requirements for that. And so you can contact your regional transit coordinator if you're interested to learn more in the startup process. The funding is up slightly this biennium compared to the previous biennium in the program. It's a formula allocation to the subrecipients that get this program funding. And the new formula is pretty similar to what was done before. It's a $100,000 base that's provided to all subrecipients. 60% of the funds that remain are by share of revenue miles, 40% are by share of passenger trips, and increases are limited to 110% of what you received in the prior biennium, and decreases are left to 95% of the prior biennium. The rides and miles data are taken as much as possible from the National Transit Database. There's more information about the allocations in the advance notice that's already been published on the website. And it's a formula-based program, as mentioned before, and it's made up only of the FTA funds. In the next biennium, we are planning on instituting some spending parameters to ensure that the annual funding allocation is not overspent in the first year of the agreements, because the allocation is biennial and the agreement is biennial, but you would be limited to how much you could spend in each given year. The Section 5311 eligible activities are much the same as they are in other programs. For capital, there's vehicle, equipments, facilities, signs, shelters, preventive maintenance, dispatch and asset management, software, and mobility management. The match rate is 10.27% for these. Operating, the match rate is 43.92%, and it includes direct service expenses. That would include the driver and dispatcher salaries, maintenance and repairs, fuel, bulk oil, supplies, and purchased for contracted service. There's no difference between purchased service and direct service that you provide in this particular program. Also included are planning, which is a 10.27% local match rate for technical studies, transportation planner improvement, project planning, engineering, and design. Same match rate is for project administration, which could be office staff salaries, marketing, office supplies, equipment rental, and overhead. The match requirements are very similar to other federal programs. The big thing is that there's no fare box revenue allowed, and most other federal funds are not allowed as match. You can use in-kind volunteer services if they are integral to the project. They're documented and they're valued reasonably. And you can talk to your regional transit coordinator if you're not sure how that's going to work for you. You can also use program revenue such as advertising and contracts for service. However, advertising revenue must be used in the next grant, not the current grant. You can also use local funds, taxes, donations, STF, and the upcoming STIF funds can be used too. Obligations. You must also follow all federal procurement and preventive maintenance requires, federal civil rights requirements, drug and alcohol testing, training, and management information system reporting. More obligations. You also will have on-site reviews. You'll do quarterly reporting to RPTD. You'll do Department of Labor reporting, charter bus reporting, transit asset management reporting, and national transit database reporting.
And now on to application tips. New this year, we are using Cognito Forms. Cognito Forms is similar to the STIF application because it's the same system. Cognito Forms are a web-based system. You can save the application. When you do, it will ask for your email address. You can then follow the link it emails you at any time to go back into your Cognito Form web-based application. And remember, ask your RTC if you're having issues. Please remember in your application, who, what, when, where, why, and how. Define your need. Demonstrate the coordination with an existing or a new system. Know the financial need for your project. Provide a sound budget. If you're planning on building, have some environmental studies done. Have your DCE started. Remember the important impacts. Connectivity. Connectivity is a big impact. Economic development, expansions of service, hitting your target audience, such as elderly and disabled, for STF funding. Availability is a key. And access. Always provide access to transportation for those who want it and need it. Your next steps are conduct local project solicitation and selection projects. Talk to your RTCs. Read all of the materials posted on the oregon.gov/ODOT/RPTD website. We have all the applications out there. The Q&A from this webinar and from all the grant trainings will be posted this week on RPTD's website. If you have questions, you may contact operations, call your RTC. We're all here to help. Enjoy your day, and please replay the webinar if you have questions.